In London, Kentucky, standing on your rights and defending yourself on your own property in the middle of the night with a firearm is punishable by death. 2 days before Christmas, London, Kentucky police shot and killed 63-year-old Douglas Harless, who was an innocent man, in his own home while serving a search warrant right before midnight. Not for a suspected school shooting or a bank robbery or something horrific, but for a stolen weed eater. A search warrant for a stolen weed eater resulted in the death of an innocent man. Just let that sink in for a second. Now, to compound the problem, the cops served the warrant at the wrong address while dispatch had repeatedly given them the correct address, 489 Van Zant Road in Lilly.
This is London PD, 48 Van Zant Road, 489 Van Zant Road. Units on scene, can serve search warrant.
The cops showed up and kicked in Douglas's door at 511 Van Zant Road. Both addresses are clearly marked on both houses. Any pizza delivery or Uber Eats or even a Walmart delivery driver would have gotten the right address, but not the armed men of the London, Kentucky Police Department. And are you sitting down for this one? The police already had the real thief of the weed eater in custody for hours before the innocent man was killed at the wrong address. This is the guy who stole the weed eater. He's 49-year-old Hobart Buttry. Buttry is accused of stealing a weed eater from property that public records show is owned by the Laurel County Judge Executive. Don't ask me what a Laurel County Judge Executive does for a living. And again, Buttry was arrested just hours before Douglas was killed, and he told the police that the weed eater was at a home in Lilly. Now, an investigative reporter went to the Laurel County Corrections Center to interview Buttry, and this is what he said.
I told them on Van Zant Road there was a weed eater there, and they took it to where they wanted to go with that.
Buttry says he used to live down the road from Harless at 515 Van Zant, but he hasn't lived there in close to a year.
And they went to the wrong address, is what that was.
Buttry says he got to know Harless while living there and that he was a good man who didn't deserve what happened to him.
I am sorry for what happened to that man. I really am. It never supposed to happen like that. If I know anything like that, I would never bother a weed eater. And that's all it was with a weed eater.
Now you can clearly see that not only are 489 and 511 clearly marked at the respective houses, but a simple Google map search shows that the houses are clearly distinguished, and any mapping program would have taken police or anybody else to the correct house. Now, 3 days after the fatal shooting, the London Police Department issued the following statement. And before I read it, see if you think they're telling the truth and exuding all this transparency that police departments like to say that they have. They said, on December 23rd, 2024, officers from the London Police Department were following up with an investigation which started in the city limits of London. This investigation led officers to attempt to execute a search warrant at a residence on Van Zant Road in Laurel County. While doing so, the occupant of the residence produced a firearm and pointed it at officers. The officer then responded with force, which resulted in the death of the occupant. At the request of the London Police Department, the Kentucky State Police was called to investigate the use of force and responded to the scene. The officer involved has been placed on administrative leave, no doubt paid administrative leave, which is standard and in line with the department's policy for this type of incident. At this time, no other information will be released as it is an active and ongoing investigation. Any further questions or inquiries should be directed to the Kentucky State Police. Notice they don't reveal the nature of this serious investigation or that it involved issuing and serving a warrant at midnight for a stolen weed eater. Notice also that they claim the homeowner produced a gun, which he had a perfect right to do, but is that even true? And more importantly, notice that the head of the police department fails to mention the little detail that they served the stupid midnight weed eater warrant at the wrong address. Now, to this day, after multiple FOIA requests by multiple outlets for further information, including body cam footage, nothing has been released by the London Police Department. And if it weren't for a neighbor's security footage, there would be no record of the shooting. This is the location of the camera, and this is the footage from 11:50 p.m.
The video starts at 11:50 p.m. Monday. London police are heard banging on Harless's door and announcing themselves. They're heard again over the sound of barking dogs. As we speed things up to 11:51, officers are seen moving around Harless's porch as others move to different positions around his home. Then, what sounds like 5 gunshots. And then things get quiet. Several officers are seen exiting the home while others gather in the yard. It's 11:52. From Laurel County dispatch audio we've obtained, we know it's at around this time officers call for assistance.
Mains that road, stand by in the area, shots fired.
Where they go?
They were at 49 Mains that road, serving a search warrant.
But Kentucky State Police say Harless was shot at 511 Vanzant. This is 511 and 489 is down the road. We spoke off camera with the owner of the property. He tells us nobody has lived in 489 for months.
Shots fired. 489 Van Zant Road. They have EMS going for the perpetrator who's been hit.
KSP says life-saving measures were performed on Harless at the scene, but he was then pronounced dead by the Laurel County coroner.
From the footage, the shots were fired at 11:51 and 34 seconds. The cops huddled up at 11:52 and 39 seconds, maybe to concoct a game plan for the story that they're going to tell the media, as they often do. And it wasn't until 11:52 and 53 seconds that they called for assistance. Now, I've got a couple questions, and maybe you have more, but here are mine. Why did they even serve a search warrant for a stolen weed eater in the first place? Number 2, why did they serve the warrant when the perpetrator of the crime had already been in custody for hours? Number 3, why did the police go to the wrong address when the correct address was clearly conveyed? Number 4, why is only one officer on administrative leave and not every one of them? Number 5, why didn't they give more information on their press release? And lastly, why is there no desire on the part of the police chief or the London Police Department to release the body cam and the reports? What's really going on here? Rest in peace, Douglas Harless, and may every cop involved in this lose their jobs, have their assets liquidated, and go to prison. I will leave the link, the Facebook link for the London Police Department in the description and in the pinned comment. Share this video everywhere you can, and let's bring national attention to what looks like a cover-up in London, Kentucky. I'll see you in the next video.